Hello, this is Ezekiel Carson, and today we'll talk about Scrum and Agile methodologies. This is a 10-slide presentation, and we will cover some important topics like difference between a traditional and Agile methodologies, an overview of Scrum and its components, and also we will show some companies using Agile methodologies. Enjoy the presentation. Scrum is a relative new methodology. However, we need to understand prior models like waterfall and traditional approaches. In traditional methodology, there is a great rigor in the definition of roles, activities, and artifacts. It also includes a detailed documentation and module resource. The traditional scheme on which their previous points are based has proven to be effective and necessary in large projects, where a high degree of analysis is usually required in the process. In contrast with traditional methods, Agile methodology is present in projects with a very changing system environment. Modern times require to reduce development times while maintaining a high product quality. Additionally, during these days, we have a great restriction of time and flexibility. There are many benefits on Scrum, but the following are the most remarkable. It is enjoyable since it is very dynamic. It increases team productivity, provides a high quality product, and usually it is a stakeholder oriented product. With Scrum, you want to have your stakeholder happy. Now, we will talk about stakeholders and Scrum. Agile preserves the interest of all stakeholders in a project, also with the client, project managers, development teams, or testing team. Everyone has a clear visibility of the project, which is the key aspect for the success. Agility in development principles encourages active users to involve through the entire product development in a very cooperative and collaborative approach. Now we will talk about four components in the Agile teams. About the team productivity, Agile teams are self-organized, which means that they have the authority and responsibility to agree the work to be done directly with the product owner. This is different from most of non-Agile projects, where the project manager is responsible for assigning the work to the teams, or even to entire team members. This gives a sense of ownership to the team and increases the team morale in a higher productivity level. We also have the speed to market. With incremental delivery, we have a faster time to market and finally a higher revenue. This helps increasing the level of satisfaction for the customer, which is a key factor of success in any Agile application. About the quality, this is the most read aim in a project delivery. Unlike the traditional waterfall model, everything starts at the beginning or at the end. However, in Scrum, we can test every part in every sprint or in every iteration. Finally, we have the fun part. One of the best parts of implementing Agile is that it is enjoyable. The team is actively involved and thus make the working place more enjoyable with the entire environment. Their involvement, collaboration, and cooperation, all of them are together in a fun place. We have found ways of estimating the task by planning poker games and cards, discussing the progress of work by creating task boards, innovative ways of conducting the regular meetings, and many more other fun elements in the Agile projects. In my experience, this is the most rewarding approach for everyone. Okay, why would a company adopt an Agile model versus a traditional model? Please pause the video and take 5 minutes to think your answer. Okay, if you think that modern companies require more flexible and agile software development methodologies, you are correct. The original waterfall approach is obsolete for modern times. Let's talk about Scrum and its process diagram. Scrum is a framework in which people can face complex adaptive problems while producing problems of the highest possible values in a productive and creative way. As we may see, Scrum is simple, light of weight, but difficult to master. Let's talk about Scrum and its roles. In Scrum, we have the Scrum Master, the Product Owner, and the Scrum team. Let's talk about the Scrum Master. It teaches the product owner and team about their roles. It facilitates and protects the process and its practice, which is a very important part of Scrum. It shields the team for internal interferences and noise. Basically, it protects the team from the noise which is around the product, becoming like a filter. Enables cooperation and collaboration across all roles and removes any barrier that could exist in the entire life cycle. Another role, which is a very important role, is the product owner, which represents the business interest. It defines the requirements in the product backlog, and owns, manages the product backlog to optimize the return of investment. It clarifies the product backlog, sets priorities, and inspects every increment and make adaptations for the next sprint. Additionally, it communicates the product to the stakeholders. Last part of our Scrum role is Scrum team. It is basically a cross-functional team, basically contained between 2 and 7 or 8 people. It supports development, testing, architecting, DBAs, and one of the most important part of the Scrum team is that it manages itself. So it is itself organized. The role of the Scrum team is to commit and produce shippable increments of high value and collaborates with the product owner for optimal values. One of the most important aspects of Scrum is the agenda. Scrum requires a constant interaction between the parts, and this is why the Scrum ceremonies are so important. Let's take a look at different meetings we have in Scrum. First of all, we have a daily Scrum meeting. This meeting will take maximum 50 minutes long. This is where the team meets to communicate and understand the status of the project. It is essential because we need to know the continuous project and avoid blockage on the project. It does not to aim to report progress to the Scrum Master, Product Owner, or stakeholder. It simply helps the Scrum team to understand how the project is going within the small sprint term, let's say 1 week or 2 week sprint term. Additionally, we have the sprint planning meetings. This is where the project owner defines the objective of the sprint. We take the highest priority elements from the backlog, from the product backlog, and then they are converted to sprint task. This is where the development team determines the element that is committed to be implemented in the sprint. As we said, the selected product backlog elements are divided into tasks to create a sprint backlog. The planning lasts 8 hours for a sprint in a month. This is the ideal time for planning a sprint meeting for a month. Then we have the sprint review meeting. This is where we demonstrate our new functionalities to the team. This is done during the sprint. The equipment delivered is inspected and feedback is obtained from the system in order to adapt the plan for upcoming sprints. All relevant stakeholders must assist the team with valuable product feedback. And it has a duration of 4 hours for the entire sprint, which is basically a month. And finally, we have the sprint retrospective meeting. The focus of this meeting is to continuously improve the process. So basically, this is where we analyze all the things that happen in the sprint and where we improve the process for the next terms. At the end, the team must have identified at least 3 or 4 improvements to the process. It takes a 3-hour duration for a sprint that takes a month. Now that we have seen different roles interacting with the Scrum, we need to take a look of different artifacts composing the main Scrum components. In general, we have 2 artifacts, the product backlog and the sprint backlog. The product backlog seeks to do the most valuable work first. So basically, we are going to focus on the most important user stories and tasks. Here, the product owner is responsible for determining and managing the sequence of the work, where initially they are required characteristics to fulfill the vision of the product. Once in the development stage, it can be populated with new features, changes to the existing features, correction of defects, technical improvements, etc. The product backlog is an artifact in constant change. And the other artifact that we have in Scrum is a sprint backlog. The sprint backlog contains all tasks that the team will produce in a sprint term, which typically is 1 week or 2 weeks. The product backlog is reviewed and the high priority elements that can realistically be included in the sprint are then moved from the product backlog to the sprint backlog. Here in the sprint backlog is where the product backlog elements are split into different tasks. One of the most important attributes of Scrum is the ability of increasing the product. An increment of the product declares when a part of the product is finished or when an increase in the existing product occurs. Additionally, 2 conditions must exist to distribute a new product release. 1. There is a confidence that the product is ready to be released. And 2. There is a business decision about this new product release or update. In conclusion, we have 2 big decisions to be taken by our team. The first is that the team is confident that the product is stable and ready to be shipped. The second, that is there a business and commercial decision about the new product and it's going to help our revenue or our incomes. Most of the top companies in the world are using Scrum as the primary software development methodology. For example, we have Google, SAP, Microsoft, and other companies like Nike, Siemens, or Ferrari. Why is this? This is because the current pace of tech innovation is rapidly changing. Large companies that have been in business for decades often realize that they are not prepared to adapt so quickly, so they began to look for different ways to respond to changes in the market. This is where an agile approach really shines. Okay, folks, this has been an overview for Scrum, so thank you very much. Have a good day.